Amen. Can y'all give me just a few minutes this morning? Amen. I want to talk to you from the book of Psalms. And it's really one verse. Psalms 116. I'll give you a moment to find this particular one verse because I think it's important that you know that it is in Scripture. Psalms 116. This verse contains some really strong. This psalm contains some really strong verses. Amen. It does, just as a single verses. It contains some really strong verses. But I want to point out one key verse in this psalm. Psalm 116, verse 12. It simply says, "What shall I render unto the Lord for all his benefits towards me?" What shall I render unto the Lord for all of his benefits towards me? And I simply want to talk about what shall I render. Amen. What shall I render? In this season, beginning season of Thanksgiving, amen, there will be a whole lot of people asking God to do things for them. Amen. Some small things and quite a few large things. But they'll be asking God to do things specifically for them. Amen. I like how this verse, this particular verse reads, because oftentimes we fail to read the fullness of the verse. Right. Amen. Not that many words, but we fail to understand that, especially when our mind is really focused on us. Yeah. Come on, let's not pretend that we don't have a problem or that we're comfortable asking God to do for us. Amen. We are truly in the season, and every day should be the season of giving. Amen. But as we move into this particular season, giving will be emphasized a whole lot more. And the giving will be emphasized a whole lot more to me, to you. Okay. For those who believe in Christmas, it's not going to be what you can give. It's going to be what you can get. What you are expecting to. And you will even ask God, if you'll just give me. In verse 1 of this psalm, the psalmist talks really to others, and he makes a statement that says that he loved the Lord and that he heard his cry. Verse 4, he calls on the Lord, even while he's making mention even to others. In verse 6, he talks about God's acts in his life. You know, what God can do. What God can do. And then in verse 7, he talks to himself. He says to his soul. He then begins to talk to himself. So he talks to God, he talks to others, and he talks about what God can do, and then he talks to himself, even about God, and then he gets down to verse 12, and he asks himself a question. What can I do? He asked a question. He asked the question of himself, and it's important to understand that he asked a question that only he can answer. Right. So for a moment, would you put yourself in place of this psalmist? That he asked a question that only he could answer. He said, "What shall I?" What shall I? He's doing a sort of a reflection of himself, an introspection. Introspection of himself to look at himself. And so when you look at what he said in verse 1 and what he said all the way through, I love the Lord because he heard my cry and he leaned his ear towards me. He inclined unto me to hear what I had to say for him. And I always love the Lord. It's what he is saying. And so he then begins to, in all the other verses leading up to verse 12, he begins to reflect on what God has been doing in his life. the Lord, what shall I do? And he realized that only he could answer the question. And I want to suggest to you today that every last one of us must ask this question.
Same question. Yes,
right. And every one of us must ask this question of ourselves. Yeah. You see, the question is personal.
Yeah. Right.
It is.
Yeah, it's personal. And we must all ask this personal question. And it's a question that's from you to you.
Yeah. Only for you.
It's a question from you to you. You shouldn't struggle with the question because the psalmist has already written the question down for you. But the question should be from you to you. Yeah. Shouldn't say that I don't understand the question. It's from you to you. It's also a question that only you can answer. I cannot answer the question for you. The psalmist cannot answer the question for you. Yet it's the same question he asked of himself, from himself. It's the same question that you must ask from yourself. Yeah, and though your answer may be the same as someone else's answer, it's still your answer. And we can answer the question in the same way.
Right.
But it has to be your answer. And it has to be my answer. And the reason why is because it should be personal.
Right.
Yeah. This question and answer should come from your heart. Why? Because it's based off of your personal, meaningful relationship with the Lord. It's based off your personal and meaningful relationship with the Lord. Now, most of us have been hesitant to ask ourselves this question because we don't want to respond to our answer. Most of us have been hesitant to ask ourselves this question because we don't want to respond to our answer. Can I say it again? Most of us, we don't want to ask the question because we really don't want to have to respond to the answer that we're going to have to give. Because giving the answer, oh my God, giving the answer brings awareness. Giving the answer brings accountability. And giving the answer brings responsibility. And a lot of us don't want to be aware. So we'll play dumb and not ask the question. And we know that if we answer the question, it brings about accountability and responsibility because it starts off by saying, what shall I? What shall I? What shall I? And so if you'll allow me to make just a couple of points and I'll be close to being done. Number one, when we talk about not wanting to necessarily give the answer to the question that we really need to ask. Amen. Number one is because we realize that we have a God give me attitude.
We have
a God give me attitude. God give me. Yeah, but when we really feel like we're in a desperate situation, it's God give me. Yeah, we have a God give me attitude. Give me this, or Lord, give me that. Yeah, it is no longer a one-way street. It's no longer a one-way relationship. We realize now that it's become a two-way street. Yeah, we become aware now that as God has given to us, now we have to ask, what shall I?
Right.
Yeah, it's no longer just God, give me. And now comes into God, what shall I? Yeah. It's not just what God can do for you. Now it becomes, what can you do for God? Yeah, most of us, we always want to take the back seat and we always want to be the victim. We always want to be the recipient. We always want to be poor is me and woe is me, and I always say, God, give it because I deserve it, and God, I need it. But have you ever wondered what God might deserve?
Right.
Yeah. Let me move on. Number two. We know from the standpoint of awareness, accountability, and responsibility, we don't really want to answer the question, so we fail to ask the question because we know that the answer will cost us something that we are not comfortable with giving up.
Help us. Right.
the answer will cost us something that we are not comfortable with giving up to the Lord.
Yeah.
You see, accountable and responsible, being accountable and responsible means that we must give something back and something meaningful to God.
That's right.
See, it's not just giving something, it's something meaningful.
Yes.
All that you asked God for, you felt it was meaningful to you. You wouldn't have asked him if you didn't thought it meant something to you. And you wouldn't have asked him if you didn't think he was able to do it.
That's right.
Now the psalmist says, what shall I? What shall I render? Yeah, what shall I render? And that word can even be translated, what shall I return? What shall I return the Lord? And I want to say this, but I'm going to move on, for all of his benefits. What is it that I can give back to God for all of his? Well, wait, because I guess I need to reflect and acknowledge all of the benefits.
That's right.
It would only seem proper for me if I'm going to ask the question, then maybe I need to do some reflecting of what all God has done for me.
Okay.
What has God's benefits been to me? Well, the truth is that I can't remember all of the things.
Right. So much.
I can't remember all of the benefits that God has given me. I can't remember all of the benefits that God has blessed me with. I can't remember all of the things that God has done for me. I really wonder if anybody else in the house who has a memory lapse when it comes to how good God has been to you. Anybody else who's suffering from Alzheimer's when it comes down to I can't remember what God has done for you in your life. But I do know a few things that he's done. I know that he saved me. Yeah, I do know that he delivered me. Yeah, I know he provided for me. And I know that he kept me. I know that he's lifted me. I know that he's protected me. I know that when I was weak, he strengthened me. I know that he made ways for me when there was no way. I know when I needed shielding, he was able to shield me. I know that he was able to cover me. I know that he opened doors for me. I know that he shut some doors for me. I know he opened up windows for me. I know he guided me. I also know that he healed me. There are some things I do know that God has done for me that was a benefit to my life. I know that he favored me. I know he trusted me. Good God Almighty. I know he sat with me. I know he talked with me. I know he held me. Good God Almighty. I know he told me that I was his very own. I know he rocked me. And I know he blessed me. Good God Almighty. And I know he favored me. And I know for a fact that he loved me. Yeah, there are some benefits. Yeah, can I tell you one more thing? I know he died for me. And I know at the sound of the trumpet, he'll be calling for me. Yeah. Can I go just a little bit further? This is just me talking. I know he called me. I know he anointed me. I know he appointed me. Good God Almighty. I know he removed some things from me. I know he held back some things from me. I know he released some things to me. Have I got a witness in the house who knows that you got some benefits from God? Yeah. I know he said he never leave me. I know he said that he will always protect me. Have I got a witness in the house today? Do you know sometimes I know he pushed me. But I know sometimes he held me back too. I know he benefited me. Day in and day out of my life, I can't remember everything. But I can remember some things that... Now, after all of this, now I think it's appropriate to finish the verse. But what shall I return to him? Meaning that it doesn't have to be the same thing that he gave me. That's not what it means. Yeah, because you just can't do for God.
No way.
What God has done for you. Have I got a witness in the house today? You just can't do for God what God has done for you. Amen. That word return or render means something like to give
Yeah.
It means to send something back to a person or to a place. Yeah, so now we can really ask the question, what shall I render unto the Lord? Yeah, can I suggest that you make it something that's just as meaningful to God, amen, as it was meaningful to you when he blessed you. Have I got a witness here? Can I tell you just 3 things I believe will be done? Amen. The one thing we ought to render unto the Lord should be your worship. Hallelujah. John 23 says, but the hour is come and now is that when true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and in truth, for the Father is seeking such to worship him. Amen. I believe that God is looking for it. I believe that's something that you ought to be able to give God. And I want to be able to tell you, you could worry about who's around you. Good God Almighty, you could worry about who you think is holding you back, because there should be nothing holding you back from worshiping God when God has been so good to you. There should be nothing holding you back from lifting up holy hands to God. There should be nothing holding back tears flowing from your eyes for God. There should be nothing holding back your worship with God. Nothing should hold back your prayer time with God. What should I render unto the Lord? It ought to be some worship.
Right.
The second thing is, there ought to be some praise. Hallelujah. There is a difference between worship and praise. Though your praise is worship. Hallelujah. There ought to be a difference between your worship and your praise. Amen. Let me tell you, the Bible says this. By him, therefore, let us offer the sacrifice of praise to God continually. Listen. That is the fruit of our lips, giving thanks to his name. That's Hebrews 13 and 15. In other words, we ought to be opening up our mouth and giving God some praise. The Bible says to let everything that has breath ought to praise the Lord. Listen, if the drums can praise the Lord, if the bass can praise the Lord, if the keyboards can praise the Lord, if the tambourines can praise the Lord, if the trees with the wind blow, they bow down, they can praise the Lord. Surely anybody else ought to be able to praise the Lord. Let everything that have breath praise the Lord. For God is looking for praisers today. You ought to be praising God for all of his benefits.
I agree with you. Amen.
Last thing is this.
Yes, sir.
That you ought to return unto God yourself.
That's right.
Amen.
Hold on, wait a minute. You may be confused.
Amen.
When we say yourself, it means your service. Yeah, Romans 12 and 1 says, therefore I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, in light of God's mercy in your life, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing, acceptable unto God. For this is your reasonable. Why can't you give God just your reasonable service, which is your life, which is sacrifice, which is service to God? Some of us don't want to serve God. We talk a good game, but when it comes down to it, if you really want to render what's unto the Lord, you ought to serve the Lord with gladness. Serve the Lord with gladness. Serve the Lord with, as a matter of fact, you ought to serve when things are good, serve when things are bad. Serve when it's going your way, serve when it's going the other way. Serve the Lord. All right. Pray you receive something out of this morning.
Amen.
Yeah. Listen, after he's been so good to you, after God has shown you his goodness, and after God has shown you his grace, and after God has shown you his blessings,
Yes, sir.
and God has shown you his love,
Glory to God.
after God has shown you his favor, amen, after you've experienced the benefits of God's blessings in and over and through your life, amen, we should easily ask the question, what shall I render unto the Lord for all of his benefits towards me? Amen. It should not be a hard answer, hallelujah, to give, to answer for the question. Amen. But you must be willing, because you ought to be able to reflect on your life. One thing about the psalmist, when he was writing down the psalm, amen, whether he was talking to God, whether he was talking to the people, or even talking to himself, the one thing he did was he reflected on some things, and he understood that there would be some cloudy days, and he understood that there would be some rainy days. He also understood that there would be some days where the storms were raging. Amen. But the psalmist realized that there'll be some happy days. But he also said there was some sad days. He also said that danger was coming over his life. But he also came back and said, but God delivered me from all of the danger. Have I got a witness here? We need to know that God is more than able to deliver you and reflect over your life about how many times God has delivered you and how many times he's kept you. And I like the part where the psalmist said that he dried all of my tears away. Maybe you didn't see that, but that's, I believe, in verse 8 where he said, I had some days where I cried all night long because of what I may have been going through. But can I tell you that the God that he served said he dried all of his eyes, his tears away. So it tells me he turned his midnight into, I've got a witness in the house today that God knows how to turn your midnight into days. He knows how to wipe away your weeping eyes. He knows how to wipe all of the tears away. And just for those things, we should say, what shall I render unto the Lord? Because he's been so good to you, because he's wiped your tears away, because he's made ways out of no way, because he's lifted you and kept you, moved you and blessed you, we ought to be saying, God, I praise you. God, I worship you. God, I will serve you to the rest of my days. So, what shall I render unto the Lord for all of his benefits towards me? How about returning the Lord a thank you?
Right.
See, right about now, the place really should have erupted. When you just simply reflect back on how good God has been to you. What should I render to God? How about rendering God a thank you? All the dangers he kept you from that you saw, you should be saying thank you. All the dangers he kept you from that you didn't see, you ought to be saying, how about rendering God a thank you? How about returning to God some gratefulness? How about returning to God some gratefulness by simply saying, God, I'm just grateful for all you do. I'm grateful that you love me the way you do. I'm grateful for how you bless me. Return some gratefulness to God.
Yes.
And then how about giving him back some love? How about loving him? How about loving him? How about saying, God, for you I live, for you I die? How about loving him because he loved you so much that he died for you? And all he wants you to do is love him back. You can't love him the way he loved you, but you can love him back to a point where it satisfies him.
That's right.
You can't die for him, but he can die for you. You don't miss what I'm saying. You can't hang on the cross and die for your sins the way he did. You can't die for his sin because he was without sin. The only thing you can do is die because you stand firm on who he is. Last thing I want to say is this. What shall I render unto the Lord? Well, I believe it mentions it in verse 14 and verse 17. That's really key. And that is, for all the times that you have said, Lord, if you will do this for me, then I will do this. God, if you fix this for me, then I will do this. God, if you be this in my life, then I'll be that for you. God, if you make a way and you deliver me this time, God, I won't do it no more. Oh, some of y'all ain't never said that. Maybe you haven't. Maybe you haven't. God, see, we striking deals with God. Amen. But what we don't realize is we made a vow. Amen. In those verses, verse 14 and verse 17 or 16, whichever it is, how do I render back to the Lord all his benefits? How about keep your vow? Okay, let me say it like he said it. How about, let me say it how the psalmist said, pay back your vow. Yeah, if you want to know how to render back to the Lord, pay back your vow. If you say, God, I'll do it, then God did do it. If you say, God, I will, then be what you said you will be. If you say, God, I'm turning over to you, then turn it over to God. If you say, God, I trust you, then trust God. Good God Almighty. How many times are we making vows, but we're breaking with God? I'm going to tell you, the psalmist said, I'll pay back my vows. If you really want to surrender unto God, return back to God, give back to God for all the benefits in your life, keep your vows. If you say you're going to serve him, serve him. my name be named. God, I said I made a vow. I'll commit to it and I'll do it. Pay back your. Let me say it again. Pay back your. Most of us make vows to God when we need God to rescue us. But we never keep our end of it.
Help us. Help us. Walk heavy, Bishop. Walk heavy.
We lie to God like it ain't nothing. Let me say it again. We lie to God like it ain't nothing. God, if you do this and I'll do that and you don't been more do what you said you were going to do because you're satisfied with what God gave you. Right back to that gimme attitude.
I hear you.
You made a commitment. Honor it. You made a commitment. Honor it. If man can't trust your word, how do you think God can trust your word? You made a commitment, then honor it. If you said you would, do it. Y'all got really locked down quiet now. Yeah, the psalmist said that you made a vow, pay it back. Pay it back. You may not be able to do the same thing God did for you to him, but you can pay it back. Whatever the deal you decide to strike with God, pay it back. Whatever you told God you will sell out and do, then do it. Pay it back. The psalmist said, what I'm going to do, God, is pay you back. And I'll pay back my vow. And my vow was to lift up your name in front of people. My vow was to praise your name. My vow was not to shut my mouth, but my vow was to open up my mouth. My vow was to give you praise. I praise you in the closet. I praise you in the back room. I praise you in the bathroom. I praise you in the sanctuary. I praise you when I'm by myself. And I show up with praise you in front of folks. Because people need to know that when I praise you because of your goodness. I praise you because of all your benefits towards me. I won't keep my mouth shut. I'll wave my hands. I will open up my mouth and I will praise him because I understand the word of God that says, let everything that have breath praise the Lord. Somebody here right now, you ought to be praising God for all the benefits. You made a vow. You told God, if you bless me, I'll worship you. If you bless me, I'll praise you. If you save me, I'll testify. Open your mouth and testify that God is good. That God is good. Open your mouth and testify that God is good. Is he good? Has he been good to you? Has he been good to you? Has he made a way out of no way? Has he opened doors that no man could open? Has he shut doors that no man could shut?